Good morning, and welcome to your morning cereal.
Okay, good morning and welcome to Thursday. Well, you've made it. You've survived hump day and made it to Friday Eve. So go ahead, treat yourself with a little extra cream in your coffee this morning. Well, you've earned it. Today is Constitution Day in Denmark, so raise a toast to democracy, democracy everywhere, especially here in the good old US of A. It's also National Gingerbread Day, which invites you to indulge some of those sweet, spiced treats. You know, I actually like gingerbread, but I didn't realize how split the country is on this tasty little cookie, or bread, I guess, too. Well, here's a good one for you. If you're late to work this morning, just blame it on National Sorry I Was on a Boat Day. It's the perfect excuse for any tardiness this morning. Lastly, it's Thank You Day, and that's a nice reminder to express gratitude to those deserving it. And I'll start it off. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Well, as a token of my gratitude and appreciation, I'm going to give you a hard-hitting quote this morning from Mark Wahlberg, who said, quote, "If I succeed, it's because I was lucky, but if I fail, it's because I didn't work hard enough." End quote. So some perspective here from Mark, and a nice reminder to focus on effort and ownership. No excuses, people. Well, today's news, facts, and birthdays are for June 5th, and we're going to start back in 1883, when on this date, the first Orient Express departed Paris for Istanbul, offering luxurious train travel across Europe. Then in 1944, over 1,000 British bombers dropped 5,000 tons of bombs on German gun batteries in Normandy. That was preparing us for D-Day. Then on this date in 1956, Elvis Presley, he performed Hound Dog live on TV for the first time. And as we all know, it caused quite the sensation with his little hip dance moves. Then we're going to move all the way up to 1981, when on this date, the CDC reported the first recognized cases of AIDS in the United States, marking the beginning of the epidemic. Then lastly, in 2004, on this date, former US President Ronald Reagan, he passed away at the age of 93 after a long battle with Alzheimer's. Well, happy birthday to you. If today is your birthday, you share a birthday with quite a few musicians. But first, we're going to start with, well, I guess he is a musician too. You remember his songs? Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch? Mark Wahlberg, he's 53 today. Then Brian McKnight, one of my favorite R&B singers and songwriters. He has songs like One Last Cry. Well, he's 55 today. Then definitely my favorite smooth jazz saxophonist, probably yours too, Kenny G, he's 68 today. And then lastly, financial advisor and television host you might remember from the 80s and 90s, Susie Orman, she's 74 today. Well, the number one song on this date back in 1986 was The Crossroads by Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. Well, this song was a tribute to lost loved ones in their lives, including their mentor Eazy-E, which in a weird twist of irony for today's show, Eazy-E did pass away from AIDS. But that little factoid aside, this is a great song. And I had to listen to it about 1,000 times so I could memorize the lyrics because of how fast these guys rap. If you haven't heard it, look it up. Well, the song's success solidified their place in hip-hop history. It won a Grammy for them in 1997, and it definitely resonated with fans worldwide. All right, well, let's cross the road into our book review segment as we continue our journey through Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And today, we're still in part 2, Habit 2, in the subchapter, A Principle Center. Now, here, Covey explores what it means to build our lives around principles, rather than fleeting external influences, things that we've been talking about over the last couple of days. Now, Covey begins by contrasting how most people live reactively, driven by circumstances, moods, or other people's expectations. Covey writes, quote, "Principles are deep, fundamental truths, classic truths, generic, common denominators," end quote. And those are unlike social trends or the latest self-help fads, right? Principles like integrity, honesty, and fairness, they endure across time and across cultures. They're universal standards that we can rely on when everything else feels uncertain. So this chapter challenges us to look at what's really at our center, the driving force behind our decisions and how we see our worlds. Here, Covey talks again about some of these alternative centers, right? If we're centered on a job, we might feel lost if that job disappears. If we're centered on friends or family, we might feel shaken when those relationships change. But if we're centered on principles, we find a stability that doesn't rely on external circumstances. Now, Covey explains that when we live a principle-centered life, we gain 4 invaluable life support factors. Remember these? Security, guidance, wisdom, and power. Now, security, he says, comes from knowing we're aligned with what's true and unchanging. Guidance comes from principles that act like a compass, helping us to see clearly and make better decisions. Wisdom flows from understanding how those principles apply in every area of our lives. And lastly, power. Not the power to control others, but the power to live with purpose. That emerges naturally from this solid foundation. Okay, to help us recognize our current center, Covey gives practical examples. If you're family-centered, you might find it hard to make decisions that don't please everyone. If you're money-centered, you might feel constant anxiety in unstable economies. And Covey's message is that these centers can leave us reactive, forever chasing that security in the wrong places. Okay, so here's your takeaway. A principle-centered life isn't just about doing the right thing. It's about building a foundation that can't be shaken by the ups and the downs of life. It's about anchoring yourself to timeless truths, those, quote, deep fundamental truths that Covey calls principles, and letting those guide your actions, shape your choices, and give you the quiet confidence to face whatever comes your way. All right, well, as we wrap up today's episode, remember to embrace the spirit of Constitution Day by reflecting on the principles that guide your life. And don't forget to express gratitude on this Thank You Day. A simple thank you can brighten someone's day. Again, thank you for joining us today on Morning Cereal. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more insights and stories to start your day. Now get out there and have a fantastic day. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the Morning Cereal podcast on the One Life Live It channel. You can find more episodes and videos by visiting our YouTube channel and the website at Sean Inglis and at SeanInglis.com, where you can also follow our other podcasts, the Mr. and Mrs. Inglis podcast and the Life Happens podcast. In these other podcasts, we'll dive deeper into everyday issues, self-improvement and well-being, business and finance, and we welcome special guests too. So join us. It'll be a good time, I promise. Thanks again for listening. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.